a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning and welcome back to Youth Wednesdays on Tobago Updates Morning Show. You bring us live here in Portmore, Scarborough, Tobago. My name is Dwayne Nurse and I'm one of your favorite week hosts this morning. And it's always a pleasure to, join with you here, smack center in the middle of the week to bring you that youthful vigor, the youthful vibe. A change in Tobago Updates. Just on Wednesdays, it could be more, but we are here nonetheless. I want to thank all our ardent viewers for joining us from wherever you are in the world, whether it be 102 on AMPLIA, YouTube, or on Facebook. And if perchance you're hearing us on the radio, God be praised. Good morning and welcome. I'm also joined with
your other favorite youth host. Good morning to all our viewers on our varying platforms. Good morning to you, Dwayne. Looking very handsome in the same color that I am in.
Thank you. You're wearing black and white this morning.
Of course, we both are, and I'm happy to be here with you this morning.
I just hope the pants is not yang, right? But it's been quite a week, just coming off the cusp of the general elections. We have had, a lot of developments. We have a lot of anticipation, a lot bringing this space. Yes. But before we get into what's bringing the space, we must have news in 90 seconds with Miss Natalia Nancis.
Here is your news in 90 seconds for Wednesday, 28th May 2025. The Tobago House of Assembly is preparing to fill the vacancy left by Joel Sampson, who resigned as Secretary of Community Development, Youth Development and Sport after being elected MP for Tobago West. Sampson, formerly the representative for Crown Point Bon Accord, won the April 28 election on a Tobago People's Party ticket. Chief Secretary Fali Augustine confirmed a replacement is identified, but pending legal formalities. No by-election is required due to the timeline. Efforts to get further updates from Chief Secretary Fali Augustine remain unanswered. However, Deputy Chief Secretary Dr. Faith Brebner said announcements are expected soon. A revived sense of optimism is emerging in the scrap iron industry as stakeholders push for reform and regulation. Following a meeting on May 27, the Scrap Iron Dealers Association plans to recommend the formation of a regulatory body to Minister of Trade, Investment and Tourism, Karma Maharaj. The association president, Alan Ferguson, described the meeting as positive and said legislative changes are imminent. The industry, which brings in foreign exchange and supports lower income groups, was shut down in 2022 due to widespread theft, but reopened in 2023. Ferguson noted that Maharaj expressed concern over the industry's decline and pledged support. The association calls for law enforcement collaboration to tackle theft. As tensions escalate under Nicolas Maduro's regime, the U.S. Department of State has issued a Level 4 do not travel advisory for Venezuela, citing serious threats including wrongful detention, torture, terrorism, kidnapping, and inadequate health care. Venezuela currently holds more wrongfully detained U.S. citizens than any other nation, often without due process or access to legal or consular aid. Family members are also at risk. There is no U.S. embassy in Venezuela, leaving citizens without support. Dual citizenship or visas offer no protection. All U.S. nationals residing in Venezuela are urged to leave immediately. And that was your news in 90 seconds.
Thank you, Ms. Nancy, for news in 90 seconds. We have we have to talk about what's going on in this space. How do you feel? I didn't get to ask you what was your take on the election results, Miss Nancy. I don't know what happened within those last Wednesdays why I didn't pitch that question to you. What are your take and what are some of your expectations?
I want to just join a lot of commendations were given to the EBC on their fair counting, the entire process entirely. Yeah. They did a very good job and I think the results are what they are. I know a lot of people expected differently in terms of how
particular
Trinidad
party.
would be painted, of course, and of course Tobago. But I mean, the results are the results if people are calling for change. I remember there was one question that was posed to the public on a radio station asking if they voted for such party or they voted for a party to get out. You know, so there's a lot of questions. I stand with the public in wanting to know some of the answers. But I mean, you know, it was all fair. And I want to join in commending the EBC in the job well done that they had for the election process.
All right. You know, my thing is, you know, change is good, and you know, I anticipate what this new regime would bring, especially for the island of Tobago. You know, I'm pro Tobago, and that does not mean anti-Trinidad. Right, I want to see Tobago develop and achieve its greatest potential. You know, potential is untapped ability, and we need to untap and realize the ability. One of my pet peeves and you know, very topical issue is the issue of the autonomy question. I think at this juncture it should not remain a question. I believe there are those who want it to remain a question, especially if we're ready. What is autonomy? Are you sure you're ready for this? Those questions, I think, you know, should not find its place when it comes to this issue. But you know, there are some who has diverse views or diverging views on this particular topic. But I wait to see what the new government will bring, and so on. You know, I must comment. Go ahead.
Sorry, you mentioned that there are a lot of questions brewing, and you did mention the autonomy for Tobago. I think one of the major questions is, what is the outcome for the autonomy of Tobago? What is the support that we'll now have, probably from that party that is now sitting in the seat, in terms of the autonomy for Tobago? And again, I join with the public in wanting to know some of these answers. Not being anti-Trinidad, but wanting the best for an island that is full of potential.
Yes.
Yeah, just want to throw that in there.
And finally, I want to congratulate, you know, at the helm of power, you know, we have 3 women. Now, there are those who might not relish the idea of that reality, but I want to congratulate our 3 women. We have the president, we have the prime minister, and we have the opposition leader,
yes,
who are now 3 women sitting in the seat of national power. Yes. You know, and I think it's quite pivotal. It's momentous, and I think it should be recognized and should not go unrecognized. And I also want to say to those naysayers who may have a gender-biased view on power and who should sit at the seat, that, you know, there are a lot of women in history who have sat in the seat of power and would have done well. Just give these 3 ladies a chance, right? You know, let's wish them the best, and let's give them the support. People will go and do nonsense or do great things regardless of their gender.
Yes.
So that is my view.
I think the work speaks for itself.
Yes.
The performance for country and for people. So that's what we have to look at.
Correct. So guys, we want to go straight over to our birthdays. We have but a few birthdays this morning. And first on our list we have Mr. Gilbert Kennedy. A happy birthday goes out to you. Wishing you happy birthday greetings here from us on Youth Wednesdays and the wider family from Tobago Updates Television.
Antonia Thomas, a happy birthday to you from the Tobago Updates family, and bringing in that excitement for you because Dwayne is going to come up next with that next birthday. So let me give you all the excitement, girl. You have a happy birthday. You enjoy it to the fullest. The weather is cool, it is calm, and I really do hope you enjoy your birthday coming from the Tobago Updates family.
And might I dare say that you look lovely in this photo?
Yes,
indeed. I think I might know you. However, I also too want to wish you a happy birthday. Who do we have next? Last but certainly not least, my beautiful cousin, Jelani Eugene. You know, she's indeed beautiful. Guys, don't rush, right? Please leave her alone. You need to come through me first, right? Happy birthday goes out to you, my darling cousin, and, you know, continue to grow in love, in beauty, and success. Happy birthday goes out to you from me, from Youth Wednesdays, and the wider Tobago
And from
Updates
Natalia.
fan.
Just throwing that in there as well.
Hey, I wasn't even finished, but yes, also from Natalia Nancis. That is it for our birthdays this morning. For those of you who unfortunately did not make it on our birthday list this morning, we still want to wish you a happy birthday here from us on Youth Wednesdays and from the wider Tobago Updates television family. Enjoy your birthday, and please don't be ashamed and afraid to leave a piece of cake for us here for Miss Nancy and I.
That's level 3 Portmore, Scarborough, Tobago.
Oh, thank you for
You're
giving them the
welcome.
address. You know how we can't do without you.
Of course.
So we have next on our rundown, or we had to give you the rundown this morning. This morning promises to be a fun, youthful, and vigorous, and joyful session this morning. First, we have No Stranger to Tobago Updates Television, Miss Anthurium Lewis, Junior Secretary of Tourism, Culture, Antiquities and Transportation.
Yes.
She'll be coming to discuss with us about Fruits for Tomorrow. We are in great anticipation to see what that is. Who do we have next, Miss Nancy's?
Well, the well-renowned Ascala George, spoken word artist, speaking to us on 2025 First Citizens Poetry Slam finalists. Now, I know this is something that a lot of people look forward to. There are a lot of talented spoken word artists on the island, and there is no one better to tell us about it than Ascala George. So we welcome them this morning.
The First Citizens Poetry Slams semi-finals and final is something to live for. I don't know if you remember in 2017 about Seth Sylvester, Dear Disha Rambajan. You need to look at it. You need to look at that spoken word. But anyway, last but certainly not least, we have Miss Trinidad and Tobago contestant from Tobago, Miss Monique Joseph. She hails all the way from Speyside, and she's going to tell us about her journey about contesting to be Miss World Trinidad and Tobago. I think is to represent Trinidad and Tobago in the upcoming Miss World 2025.
And viewers, while we do have a lot of exciting interviews for you this morning, Dwayne is very much excited to bring to you this last interview.
Of course.
So let me throw that in there. The excitement will build as we go. We promise to give you a very exciting, very jam-packed session this morning, but look forward to that last interview with Dwayne at the end of the show.
Yes, certainly. But before we go, we had to tell him to do what, Miss Nancy's. Oh gosh, I forget. This what?
Share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be right back.
Rotisserie, mouth-watering fries, salads, combos, and specials galore. Feeling for something to eat? Come and see. Our rotisserie is seasoned to the T. Kicking chicken, masala, and jerk roast. Crispy fries made from scratch. Who do you know can't beat that? Or salads freshly cut and packed. When you taste it, you'll be wanting to come back. So come check us out on number 2 Robinson Street, Uptown Scarborough, Tobago. We open on Saturday nights from 7:30 to 11:30 p.m. Monday to Thursday, we're open from 10 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. and on Friday, 10 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Contact us at 772-7443 and all social media handles at The Rotisserie Factory.
Welcome to Tobago Glass Supplies, where innovation meets excellence and service reigns supreme.
Well, I want a proper window for me house, yeah? I want no shake thing in my place.
Our commitment is simple: to provide high-quality, innovative aluminum, vinyl, and glass solutions for both commercial and residential spaces.
We get one wall on the side and we get one hole. You can put a window there, invent something, a window for put there.
At TGSL, we don't just meet needs, we exceed expectations. Our range includes the finest aluminum cladding options, setting new standards in durability and style.
Well, me meet ya. Me don't know who I'm talking to, but I the children, cousin Tofina tell me for call all you go get proper thing for put there. Me don't know.
Driven by our passion to elevate, we aim to be the leading supplier in the Caribbean market while retaining our identity as a family-owned business.
Driven? No, I ain't driving. I get a bus ticket. One of me pick me them go drop me down there. Must bring me down there. Russo Trade Springer down by the place down there.
Because at Tobago Glass Supplies Limited, it's not just about products, it's about relationships. It's about you.
It's all about me? Who's your family? You know Edna and Dorka and them, you know them, but you resemble them Edward boy and them Edward people them you.
Tobago Glass Supplies, Russo Trade Spring Garden, telephone number 639-6266. Innovation, quality, service. That's Tobago Glass Supplies Limited.
MI4 Security Services Company is the most advanced security service in Tobago. Ask about our cash and transit service. It's safe, risk-free, reliable, and timely. We provide safe banking delivery for all business types and sizes with highly trained staff, 24/7 monitoring, coordinated emergency response, and a well-maintained fleet of armored vehicles. Contact us at 660-7723 or visit our website at www.mi4securitytt.com to sign up today.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning and welcome back to Youth Wednesdays on the Tobago Updates Morning Show. You bring us here live in Portmore, Scarborough, Tobago. Thank you for coming back and joining with us this morning. Miss Nancy and I are going to continue the discussion with start the discussion with Miss Anthurium Lewis, Junior Secretary of Tourism, Culture, Antiquities and Transportation in the Tobago House of Assembly. Good morning and welcome to you.
Good morning, and thank you for having me here as well.
All right.
Good morning, Tobago. It's nice to be here.
All right.
Nice to have you.
Yeah. It's beautiful young lady, intelligent, but I don't want to tell the people who you are. Just tell Tobago, for those of them that do not know, who is Anthurium Lewis?
So, good morning, Tobago again. My name is Anthurium Lewis. I am the Junior Secretary of Tourism. Right. I also have many other titles to my name, as I'm a national athlete, right? I'm a debater. I'm a Child Rights Ambassador and Air Scout as well. So I do so much. Today I'm here representing as the Junior Secretary of Tourism Well, part of my role as the Junior Secretary of Tourism is to be that youth voice to represent the tourism aspects of decision-making and plans here in Tobago, as well as just to add that fresh perspective on how things can be done, especially when there are certain things that may be overlooked. It's really just to add that youth voice to it. So part of my role also was journeying to the Cayman Islands to participate and compete in the Regional Youth Congress, where I placed second. So thank you so much. So from that, I was awarded many opportunities. So part of that was a scholarship from Carnival Corporation to study at any institution or program of my choosing for tertiary level education, as well as a Breeze Travel Summer Internship. So I'm very excited for that, as well as the opportunity to attend another major CTO event in the 2025 year calendar. So these are I'm excited to have these things done.
So many, you have a whole rundown for yourself. You know,
I'm saying Junior Secretary doesn't sound too bad, man. What are you thinking?
I'm probably past the age to be junior, but what inspired you to accept this role, and coming into this role of being Junior Secretary, what are some of the things that shocked you in accepting the role as Junior Tourism Secretary?
I would say accepting this role of Junior Secretary of Tourism, well, I would say competing for it, because we did a
competition,
competition here in Tobago for it. Being in this role, it opened my eyes to so many opportunities in tourism and the tourism sector, right? Things that I did not even know before. I would consider myself a very educated person, not to toot my own horn, but there were so many things that I did not know about tourism.
Some of those things, if you don't mind sharing, at least one.
Well, I would say the many careers that there are in tourism, right? The average student may just be like, okay, well, tourism has this and that. But there are so many diverse things that persons don't know about, that coming into this role as Junior Secretary of Tourism, I learned about it. So it opened my horizons to a new galore of opportunities that I myself can also try to look into and consider. So I would say definitely that.
Okay.
And yeah, it's been an amazing experience so far.
Right.
Yeah.
So I know we're here to speak about Fruits for Tomorrow, but I know that you would have worked on different projects, while being the Junior Secretary of Tourism. So could you highlight one of those projects that you are most proud of? And just tell us overall about the projects that you would have worked on.
Right, so the Fruits for Tomorrow initiative is actually going to be my major project. But throughout my tenure as the Junior Secretary of Tourism, as I said, I'm a debater. So I have been basically being an ambassador for human rights, right? So I've been doing the Tobago debates inside of the plenary, right? So the Women's Day debates that recently went by, I was representing as a chief secretary in that role.
So female chief secretary, man.
So I have a passion for fighting for people's cause. So being able to speak about women's rights and closing the gaps in women's health care, as well as speaking out about the housing crisis on the island. These things I'm very passionate about. So I'm glad I got the opportunity to actually speak to the masses and share my concerns, share my ideas in that aspect. So it was a great opportunity to be afforded.
I don't want to jump on her. When you said that you spoke on certain things, being the representative for that debate, what are some of the things that you would have mentioned? I'm very curious to know, because you are part of the Future for Tomorrow.
Right.
So she is. Don't you see her as being the first? As Dwayne said, you might be the first female chief secretary. So what are some of the things that you would have shared in that debate?
Right. So the main topic was really period poverty, right? So I brought awareness to period poverty. I also brought awareness to the SDG goals that concern period poverty and the pillars that the THA has established to deal with issues like period poverty. So I resurface those pillars, right? I inform the public of it and show that this is the government's role to deal with issues like this, right? It is a social issue. Okay? So that is one part of it. I also brought up ideas like the menstrual cup, right? Because we know that period supplies and products are very expensive, and some persons may not be able to afford sanitary products like these. So if we get menstrual cups of different sizes and we distribute them to different persons, of course through a robust education program, we can teach them how to use it, because these menstrual cups can last very long, up to 10 years. I did research into it. So I brought that to the forefront as well. Among many other things, I spoke about the economic impact of period poverty, how it reduces productivity in the workforce, and why we need to attack it. So that was
I see her getting a bit passionate about it,
She's definitely involved.
You're seeing the energy that she had when she was in that debates coming out again.
So the theme, Fruits of Tomorrow, just tell us about that and what is that about. I don't want to be preemptive, but you go ahead and tell us what Fruits of Tomorrow is all about.
All right, so the Fruits for Tomorrow initiative or project, it strives to achieve the SDG, so Sustainable Development Goal number 2, which is zero hunger, as well as to significantly enhance the tourism product in Tobago, right? So there are 2 parts to this project. The first part has us planting in secondary schools, primary schools, in communities, in faith-based institutions. So this is so that children and adults alike, they have full and complete access to a healthy source of nutrition, right? And we also have planting in strategic areas for beautification purposes. Right? This is a tourism project, right? We also have planting in areas susceptible to erosion and landslides. So, of course, with the proper approval and advice of the necessary authorities, that will be carried out. And the second part of this project is we are creating attractions called Tobago's 7 King Trees. Right? So
Tobago's 7 what?
King Trees.
King Trees.
Yes. So this is the name I decided on.
What trees are you guys intending to use, if you guys have identified those already? What are some of those?
Right. So
I can guess too, but you go ahead.
We are aiming to involve native and local fruit trees. So ranging from things like soursop to sapodilla to breadfruit. These are the fruits we are trying to attract, because there is I would say the abundance of native and local fruit trees on the island is
kind of depleted.
Yes, it's declining. Right? So we need to regain that appreciation for local fruits. Nowadays, if you ask a child, tell me a local fruit, they'll say mango, because that's what they know. That's what they know, and they don't grow up seeing things like sapodilla anymore, sadly. So we want to resurface those native fruit trees and bring it so that persons could have easy access to it, right? So the Tobago 7 King Trees, right? We are allowing children of Tobago to not only choose but to name 6 of these king trees, whereas 1 will be planted. So through partnership with the Division of Tourism, Culture, Antiquities and Transportation, right, what we are doing is we are hosting a creative writing competition. So it's open to children in primary school as well as lower school in secondary, so that's forms 1 to 3, and they are given the task to convince whoever will be reading their submission as to why the tree that they select is suitable to be deemed a king tree. So we want this tree to be a tree that has some sort of cultural or historical significance, whether it has some eerie folklore tale behind it, or it has great ties to the village in which they were raised up in. Make it as personal as you like, right? So we want you to persuade the reader as to why that tree can be a king tree, right?
I'm not one of the children, but
You're excited.
You wanna?
I'm excited
When last you plan something?
When last you eat a shaddock? I wasn't even
Excuse
gonna
me,
ask about. I wasn't
eat a
even
shaddock
gonna ask
in February, yeah?
in February.
Yes.
Where's the shaddock from?
Well, we want to mind my business of her.
You see, we can't share.
Do you know what is a shaddock?
These trees are not available. Why
You know
is
the
Dwayne
shaddock?
alone eating shaddock? Do you know what a shaddock is?
Yes.
Okay, we're not that
Yeah,
lost.
you know, I wanted to ask you, you mentioned so much about, you know, preserving our food heritage, our local food heritage. But in your stint of being tourism secretary, have you come across, you know, some of the issues that would have led to, you know, the delocalizing of our fruit trees? Things like globalization, you know, and how globalization, you know, dictates what we eat, when we eat, and how it mitigates food sovereignty. You know, have you come across some of those issues, and you know, what other issues have you come across that kind of cause some of these things to be an issue on our island? And well, I shouldn't ask because you already said it, but you know, do you see these things as, you know, major blocks in our way as small islands, you know, when it comes to preserving our heritage, especially when it comes to food?
I would say we as the people partially have a part to play in that.
Yes.
Right? Because it's demand and supply.
Correct.
Right? They supply what the people want. So if it's that we want oranges, we want apples, that's what they would supply.
That was the narrative.
Right?
Apples and grapes and these things. We never fell into the local. Let me not take away from you. Go ahead. I'm getting passionate about that part because we didn't grow up on
apples and grape and them things.
Yeah, we grew up on
kiwi.
the local grapefruit. As I said, shaddock, popo, and these type of things. So you know, the narrative kind of changed when we started introducing books in education itself that would introduce the apple and the grape era, which is what the young people know now.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, you know, if for whatever reason our imports and stuff are hampered, what would they now grow up on? Somebody said this is now the what did they tell me? This is a Cricks generation growing up here. It's coming in. Yeah, because they have to learn. Nothing is wrong with Cricks, but the apples and the grapes won't be available to them. So what will we do?
Yeah, and you know, this discussion is quite important because you know, when I was in university, we did a course on geographical politics, geography politics, and you know, this is one of the issues that came up. Do you know that breadfruit is now widely studied as one of, you know, the superfoods in the world? 5 years ago, it wasn't. You know, we were forfeiting breadfruit for potato, Irish potato. And you know, the name is in the pudding where it came from, Irish potato. You know, but now, you know, we have an opportunity to market our local fruits as an attraction towards tourism, towards a tourism product, you know, and you know, this is quite important, it's quite pertinent.
I honestly love this project, this initiative that you have. So I wanted to get back into it because I'm excited.
Sorry, we don't want to take away from the interview. You go ahead.
So we have some very attractive prizes to be won for this creative writing competition. Some of which consists 3 days and 2 nights at the Manta Lodge for 3.
Fire.
Right? A phone.
I was just asking.
A tablet. Units and book vouchers. Right, so this is history in the making. This is a legacy being laid front. This is, you can say, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. It's not every day you get to say that you are choosing and naming the next Tobago tourist attraction.
Yes.
Right? And very soon in the future, what we hope is to implement technology into this. So we want to have a tree scan with a QR code. Right, so what this will do is when the person scans all 7 QR codes of each tree, right, they will automatically receive a certificate. So we are implementing the concept of geocaching into this, which is an international game that a lot of
Geocaching.
that's a lot of people
about this.
Okay, so like it's you hide different things in certain areas and persons will actually go looking for it.
Right, so it's
this
like
is
a treasure
Something
hunt
like
kind of way.
Pokemon,
Yes, a
that
treasure hunt.
Pokemon game thing that I used to play. You have to actually go looking for the
Basically.
Pokemon. Okay, all
Right? So also on this tree scan, we'll have details about the tree, right? We'll have a snippet of the child's submission, so make it very enticing, right? We'll also have a tracker where you can see where the nearby trees are or give out a general location so that they know which area they want to go in next. So the purpose of these king trees is actually to bring global and domestic tourists to all the parts of the island. So we want them to go to the less traversed areas on the island, especially, in country, places like Charlottesville,
The north
where they
side,
have,
Yeah.
So we want trees to be vastly spread throughout the island to encourage persons to actually visit those areas, right? And I'm hoping that the people actually capitalize on this and arrange their small businesses in a way to actually cater to these tourists when they come. So we are doing this to keep income generation within the communities, right? This project, it impacts so many areas and it has so many benefits to it actually. So it's something that I prayed about and it came to my mind and there are so many pros and it's amazing really.
I'm so proud of you.
I am happy that this was your initiative. And doing
proud.
My next question to you is, because I know you're the outgoing junior tourism secretary. I know that brings tears to your eyes a little bit. But how do you ensure that this project stays on stream? Because this is, of course, as we just said, a great initiative. How do you ensure, as outgoing secretary, that the incoming secretary can take this up and make this part of their own?
Right. So in order for that to happen, we need the buy-in of not just the Tobago House of Assembly, not just the Division of Tourism, but we need the buy-in of the people. Right? We can plant down so many trees, but at the end of the day, the people need to support this project. They need to support this initiative so that these trees can reach a stage where they can grow on their own, right? We need the people to actually, feel as though this project is their own.
Yes.
Because it heavily impacts them in a net positive way. And it's something that is for sustainability. It's for the future generation. That's why the name is Fruits for Tomorrow, right? So we are doing this for our future generations. This is the seed we are planting, and we will see the fruits in the near future.
One of my last question to you, or my penultimate question to you is, you spoke about the fact that this is hinged on the SDG goals as it pertains to eradicating poverty, right?
Hunger.
Hunger and hunger. How do you see the importance of publicizing or sensitizing the local public of Tobago and even the wider world about the nutritional benefits of some of our local fruits? Because you might be surprised that in comparison to a chenet, to an apple, which is has a lot more mass, right? That our chenet might be packing a lot more nutritional value.
I believe that it does. I mean, chenet actually, you could taste that chenet holds a bit more vitamin C than apple. But we wouldn't get into that part, I don't want to get too excited about it.
So how do you see that being a feature of this project, as a pull factor? Because, people are pro-health these days. Everybody want to be healthy.
Right.
Correct.
I want to, especially them young men who now come in, watching their muscles and think, how much protein this thing packing,
Right, so that's actually going to be also implemented on the tree scan. All right, so we will have that page where the details, it breaks not just into the type of tree, but also the fruit that it carries and the nutritional benefits of that fruit. So we are hoping to do that, and we're also hoping that the king fruit, the king trees, right, they have different fruits on each tree, so that when people scan it, they not only get that historical significance from the submission, but they learn something about our native and local fruits.
So what I'm hearing is that there would be some education on grafting and stuff like that as well. right? And in light of that, Dwayne saying that he ate a shaddock in February, I really hope that, shaddock, one of the fruits that is one of the fruits that comes back on mainstream.
You starting to sound like you have never had shaddock in it.
No, I've had shaddock, no. It's just that you telling me I had it in February. That tells me two things. Number one, you're greedy because they didn't give me a shaddock. And number two,
you greedy for
the
coveting my
rarity of shaddock.
Share for me too.
Thank you. When last year I had a super sweet and these type of things.
When last you had one?
Ask me
And
this
that is why we're
question.
planting. That is why we're planting.
This is what we need, as she said.
Yes.
The rarity of these fruits is too much.
Yeah.
Too
They
scarce,
need to be brought back into mainstream. I really love this initiative. Especially that I love food. Yeah.
Your closing comment.
So I'd like to say thank you to some people. I'd like to say thank you to the Chief Secretary of the Tobago House of Assembly, the Honorable Fali Chavez Augustin, for his support. I'd like to thank the Secretary of Tourism, Culture, Antiquities and Transportation, Councillor Tasha Grace Boris, for her funding of this project and her continuous support. I'd like to thank the Assistant Secretary of the Division of Tourism, the Assemblyman Niall George, Administrator Ms. Shelley Trim, and the wonderful team that's supporting and helping me with this project at the division. Thank you so much. Right. I'd like to thank the Secretary of Education, Research and Technology, Assemblyman Zerisha Hackett, for allowing us to do this planting at the schools and also for buying in on this project. Yeah. Right. Thank you to all other stakeholders who are assisting with this project. And yes, thank you. And I want to thank my family, most importantly. So they are the driving force behind this. They give me encouragement, they give me support, and they keep me going, right? And last but not least, I'd like to thank God. Without him, I would not be given this opportunity to even use my ideas and execute them. It's only him, because I could have these ideas all I want, but only him has given me this chance to actually take the ideas and have a channel through which I can implement it for the benefit of the Tobago people. So I
she
thank
said
you
that
so
this
much.
idea was prayer given, so it was
prayer given.
Really God-driven.
I'm so proud of you.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Continue. Don't stop being the junior secretary. Right? Wherever you go, because I do anticipate that God will take you to greater heights and greater places. Wherever you go, you represent Tobago. Represent yourself very well, and all the best.
And please ensure, even if you had to check in, I'm not saying, some people like to say bother, don't bother them, but just check in, just make sure that this idea comes on, because we want to see it, we really want to see it implemented. The ideas that you have thrown into the actual idea would really give Tobago a voice out there in the global market, especially for our local produce. This will be a good thing, especially for our local farmers here as well. Yeah, so good luck. And to Dwayne, you owe me a shout out and a super sweet. So viewers, thank you so much for joining us here for this interview. Up next, who do we have? We have Miss Monique Joseph, model. She'll be the representative for Speyside. The interview that I told you about that Dwayne is very excited to speak to you on. So we ask you to stay tuned and share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be right back.
With Flow Business's new smart solutions, powered by super fast, reliable broadband, you'll feel like there are more versions of you working for you. From website design, development, and digital marketing to promote your business, 24/7 business class support to cloud solutions, security, and more. Multiply your growth today.
TNTech is pleased to advise that its Roxborough Service Center has reopened. Starting Monday, 10th March, customers can once more visit the Roxborough Administrative Building to pay TNTech bills, request new connections, and more. TNTech, powering the nation into the next generation.
Are you in a dispute with a registered investment service provider of the TTSEC? Or maybe you're the victim of an investment scam? You can lodge a complaint or submit an anonymous tip to the Trinidad and Tobago Securities and Exchange Commission. Download our Investor Protection app or go to ttsec.org.tt to access our complaint form or submit an anonymous tip. Write a clear summary of your complaint. Submit copies of supporting documents along with the originals for verification. Provide a copy of the feedback received from the entity regarding your complaint. All investor complaints or scam reports submitted by the public are acknowledged and reviewed by the TTSEC. Investigations are pursued based on the outcome of the review. Trinidad and Tobago Securities and Exchange Commission, protecting the interests of investors and the public. You invest, we protect. Everyone benefits.
Courts is well known as the Caribbean's largest retailer, providing consumers for generations with the very best products to enhance their homes. This year, we bring our expertise to businesses. Courts Business Solutions will serve small, medium, and large companies with the very best products at the most competitive prices, backed by warranties and after-sales support. Hoteliers, office managers, restaurants, and so many more. Courts Business Solutions, a brand of the Unicomer Group.
Rotisserie, mouth-watering fries, salads, combos, and specials galore. Feeling for something to eat? Come and see. Our rotisserie is seasoned to the T. Kicking chicken, masala, and jerk roast. Crispy fries made from scratch. Who do you know can beat that? Or salads freshly cut and packed. When you taste it, you'll be wanting to come back. So come check us out on number 2 Robinson Street, Uptown Scarborough, Tobago. We open on Saturday nights from 7:30 to 11:30 p.m. Monday to Thursday, we're open from 10 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. and on Friday, 10 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Contact us at 772-7443 and all social media handles at The Rotisserie Factory.
Welcome to Tobago Glass Supplies, where innovation meets excellence and service reigns supreme.
Well, I want a proper window for me house, yeah? I want no shake thing in my place.
Our commitment is simple: to provide high-quality, innovative aluminum, vinyl, and glass solutions for both commercial and residential spaces.
We get one wall on the side and we get one hole. You can put a window there, invent something, a window for put there.
At TGSL, we don't just meet needs, we exceed expectations. Our range includes the finest aluminum cladding options, setting new standards in in durability and style.
Well, me meet here. Me don't know who I'm talking to, but the children, cousin Tofina tell me, for call all you go get proper thing for put that, me don't know.
Driven by our passion to elevate, we aim to be the leading supplier in the Caribbean market while retaining our identity as a family-owned business.
Driven? No, I ain't driving. I get a bus ticket. One of me pick me them go drop me down there. Must bring me down there. Russo Trace Springer down by the place down there.
Because at Tobago Glass Supplies Limited, it's not just about products, it's about relationships. It's about you.
It's all about me? Who's your family? You know Edna and Dorka and them, you know them, but you resemble them Edward boy and them Edward people them you.
Tobago Glass Supplies, Russo Trace Spring Garden, telephone number 639-6266. Innovation, quality, service. That's Tobago Glass Supplies Limited.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning and welcome back to Youth Wednesdays on Tobago Updates Morning Show. You bring us here live in Portmore, Scarborough, Tobago. My name is Dwayne Nurse, and we're going to continue with our final guest for this morning, Miss Monique Joseph, who is a contestant at the 2025 Miss Trinidad and Tobago Beauty Pageant. All right, good morning and welcome to you, Miss Joseph.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, it's a pleasure to have you. So just before we get into some of those questions, right, just tell the viewers about yourself, where you're from, right, etc., etc.
Yeah, so my name is Monique Joseph. I am no stranger representing Tobago at the Miss Grand Trinidad and Tobago Beauty Pageant. I am from Speyside, so, you know, I always represent my community with as much pride and joy as I can. I'm also a model. I am an esthetician. I am an aspiring businesswoman. You know, I am just on a journey of self-discovery, and this pageant in particular is very personal for me, you know? Yeah.
All right. So you're from Speyside. What does it feel like to be a country girl, right? You know, contesting, well, in a pageant like this.
For me, it's an honor to be from the countryside and to be received well in this particular pageant, because I see it as a luxury. I think when I was younger, I didn't really favor being so far in the country, but as I get older, it's peace. Yes, it's peace.
Yeah.
And my community always supports me.
Yeah.
So we're very loving. There's still that Tobago togetherness, strong in the countryside, and as I get older, I just appreciate that so much.
Yeah, you know, and you know, being from Tobago and being from the countryside, you know, instills a lot of, you know, core values. You know, it teaches you to be independent. You know, self-aware, respectful. You know, I'm certain some of these attributes you do embody. But
yes, thank you.
You know, what inspired you to get into competitions like these and modeling? You know, I mean, we went to the same school.
Yes.
You were always a model student, very quiet, intelligent. You know, what inspired you to you know, immerse yourself in these things?
I knew early on that I wanted to be in the beauty industry. And I was probably one of the only students saying, oh, I want to be a model when I get older. And what really inspires me and pushes me to keep going is it's truly a journey of self-discovery.
Yeah.
It teaches you confidence. It gives you opportunity to meet so many new people.
Yeah.
And that's truly what I enjoy about beauty, pageantry. And there's so much opportunity for economic growth in this industry as well.
Right.
Yeah.
And as you mentioned, economic growth. you know, we don't see the economic side of things. I mean, we preach about the orange industry. What are your take on the, you know, the growth of the orange industry in Tobago? You know, do you see any notable changes in a positive direction, or do you see that we are still missing the mark, or we have a lot more to do? What are your views? Especially when it comes to pageant,
Yeah. I think it's slow and steady. It's a slow and steady increase. And I'm really happy for that because, you know, there was the Miss Tobago pageant, which gave a lot of young people here in Tobago the opportunity to even express themselves in that way. And we do have a pageant culture. I know there's several, yes, we do have a pageant culture, but we just need to really see the business side of things and to really invest in ourselves because we have the talent and it's just to get that exposure. Yeah.
Wow, this is really good photography.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
Guys, I kid you not. Makeup or no makeup, this is how she looks. Right?
Thank you.
Pure country thing. But you know, you had quite the journey getting to this point.
Yes.
Before getting into this, what did you do? What was your daily superhero, you know, undercover, you know, thing?
Well, you know, Dwayne, you knew me from before, but before I even got to high school, you know, I was the shy kid. I was the quiet kid.
Yeah.
And for me to even be on a platform like this, it's a testimony within itself. I used to stutter really badly when I was a child.
Really?
Yes. And, you know, growing up, I had a lot of emotional wounds. And pageantry really allowed me to overcome that. And so every chance I get, if I see an opportunity, I'm going to take it. You know, because, you know, they're far and...
few in between,
Yes.
Yeah.
So I take the opportunity whenever I can, and it allows for advocacy as well. In this particular pageant, we're focused on gender-based violence. And so during the coming weeks, you're going to see a lot of content and just a lot of representation when it comes to gender-based violence. Just to note that men, we see you, and we're really trying to include men in the discussion of gender-based violence because it really affects everyone.
Yeah. You know, and this is a very heavy topic that you're championing right now, because, and it's quite a very sensitive topic because on one end, you are exposing what women have been through.
Yes.
And on the other end, you are exposing what men have been through, which is quite novel.
Yes.
Right? And beneath all of that, you know, men are usually the perpetrators, the known perpetrators.
Right.
But what would you do differently in this initiative that you're doing, especially when it comes to fixing the issue? You know, a lot of times we talk about the issues, we talk about the experiences, but how do we truly fix the issue? What are your thoughts?
Fixing something, it has to start with you, and it has to start with you leading by example.
Right.
And, you know, there might be little things that we do and say during our daily life that is so subconscious, but it really affects how we interact with the opposite gender.
Right.
And I too am guilty of it. It's not that I'm always the victim. I may be guilty of it sometimes. So it's about bringing awareness to these things so that we all can join in to just make the world feel safe for everyone.
Yeah. You know, we know beauty is one aspect of physical beauty is one aspect of, you know, being a contestant or to even be considered in these pageants. You know, what are you doing to you know, sharpen your intellect and your communication skills? Because, you know, we only see the photos, the videos, etc. But what other work will behind the character and behind the beauty?
But behind the beauty, it's truly about holistic development. So this particular pageant, there's 4 B's. There's brain, there's beauty, there's body, and there's business. And You know, for me, I strive to be excellent in everything that I do. And it's not about perfection. Don't ever think that you have to be a perfect person to have the perfect set of skills. It's truly about showing up in your excellence, and your excellence would be at a different level than someone else's.
Particular set of skills.
Yes.
If you watch Taken, guys. Okay. Yeah.
You know, so pageantry, it truly allows you to grow in all spheres. You know, there's a lot of research involved. There's so much you could do to inspire others, and it truly gives you a platform to do that.
Yeah. You know, a lot of the times when people are a part of these pageants, when young women are a part of these pageants, and there are men as well, you know, who do compete, but at times they get a sense of airheadedness. What do you do to stay grounded, so that people don't turn up their nose and say, that girl, she from Speyside, she feels she got a pageant and win something, she feels she on top of the world, Princess Margaret. What do you do to stay grounded so that, you know, you maintain your relatability, you know, for Tobago within your community and the wider world?
Confidence for me, it's calm. You know, sometimes people think that confident means you're loud and you're the most seen person. But it's truly, I try to embody a calm confidence. And it allows me to really observe others and to really stay aware of what's going on around me. You know, being from the country, I do have a very grounded spirit. And so it's easy for me to just be myself. You know, there's no need to pretend or to put on a facade. You really have to be authentic if you want to embody confidence.
Yeah. You know, I remember while you were at school, Monique, right? You were, one of your subject areas was art, am I correct?
Yes, art and design.
Do you still do that?
In different ways, yes. I mean, art will always be useful, right? So me, I'm at nail tech, and you know, very soon I'm getting into beauty, makeup, all these things. So you know, don't think of art as one-dimensional. Yes, one-dimensional. There's so many things. There's so many ways to be creative.
Yeah. I remember those art room days and come down and line with toilet, because you know I admire art as well. You know. And this, as you rightfully said,
art is an outlet. It's a very, very important outlet for us as human beings.
We have but a short time, but you know, just tell us more about the pageant. What are your hopes? What are your endeavors? Right? And you know, when you win, you know, what is next for you?
Okay, so this pageant, it's gonna be glamorous. It's gonna be everything that we enjoy about pageantry. It's happening in June, all the way in Sapa. So it's South Trinidad. And it's June 27th, which is a Friday. Everything you need to know will be on my social media. You could also go to the Grand Trinidad and Tobago page, take a look at the other contestants, because it's really about all of us. We're on a journey to self-development. So you can support all of us. What's next for me? I'm going to continue to pursue my dream of owning a spa. And, you know, I plan to represent Tobago to the best of my ability. And that's what I do, you know, in my daily life. So the crown coming home would just mean, it's just a manifestation of what I've always dreamt of.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, and my final question before I turn it over to you to give your closing remarks. You know, there's this notion about Tobago.
Yes.
You know that, you know, everything that comes, the things coming from Tobago is subpar in comparison to other areas of the country. What are your thoughts about that, and what would you say to the wider country, the wider nation, the region, and the world about Tobago?
I would say, you know, Tobago and Tobagonians, we tend to downplay our achievements. You know, we tend to downplay it, but my advice and my hopes for Tobagonians is to just shine, because sometimes when you interact with people around the world, we're no different. Our education is right up there with the others. And so there's no reason for us to feel
inferior
or to accept that opinion of others. You know, so just shine brightly, and don't be afraid to try new things, to get out of Tobago, you know, venture into new spaces. Yeah.
All right. So that was Monique Joseph, guys. I want to thank you for joining us this morning. Congratulations in advance, and all the best in your pageant. And we are here in Tobago supporting you. Thank you. Guys, this brings us to the end of Tobago Updates and Youth Wednesdays here on Tobago Updates Television. We just want to wish you a great day, and remember to share the live, share the live, share the live. We have Good Morning Tobago up next, and have a great day.
Gender-based violence is a direct violation of your human rights that targets you based on your gender. It can happen to anyone. 1 in every 3 women has experienced gender-based violence from an intimate partner or family member. While societal norms and stereotypes often discourage men from even reporting acts of violence against them, it can happen to anyone. You may feel powerless, like your voice is a drop of water in the grand scheme of things, but it all starts with a single drop. If we all speak up, all use our voices to break the silence, we have the power to change the tides against gender-based violence. I am Monique Joseph, your delegate for Tobago at the Miss Grand Trinidad and Tobago Pageant 2025. Let's take a stand against gender-based violence. Join us to lend your strength and support to survivors, one drop, one voice at a time. Stop the violence.
The best place to stay in Tobago is at Thorn's Place, with rates starting as low as 200 TT. Call or WhatsApp 745-7306 or 682-8676. We are located uptown Scarborough, 5 minutes away from the port. Remember, at Thorn's Place, our aim is to make your stay safe and affordable.
We will recall that Operation Gulfstreams began on that fateful morning, just mere days before our National Carnival on the 7th of February 2024. The impacted area was something like 15 kilometers of space, starting from Scarborough, going way down to Pettichou, just behind my back. And it resulted in the removal of waste to the extent close to 60,000 barrels of oiled waste and over 23,000 cubic yards of waste materials that were moved, which was stored at Stolly Park. It is 6 o'clock in the morning. The fisher folks are ready to go out to sea to check on booms, to make sure that the booms are intact. These booms were utilized. So you have that process taking place. You have diving taking place, looking at what is happening below the sea and the challenges. So this is divided up into 2 major operations. What is happening on shore, shoreline cleanup, and also out at sea, the de-inventorying of the vessel taking place simultaneously. And then at the end of the day, around 6 o'clock, you have after action review, where the chief secretary will call the committee and the players together and say, let us review the day, so you could identify what are the objectives, what are the lessons, what are the challenges, and what do you do the next day in terms of preparation. So those were part of the process to make a full day of operation. It took us 196 days of abatement, containment, and cleaning of our water courses and our beach area. After we would have dealt with the shoreline cleanup activities, the ministry had a responsibility to now take care of the vessel. That process they call de-inventory. The de-inventory exercise saw also another close to 30,000 barrels of liquids being extracted, or what you call hydrocarbon. That depository into the Scott Mulchan vessel, that activity took some 77 days of activities to take place, and this is where we are today. I want to thank you very much for all the support and the endurement that you would have extended to TEMA and the emergency workers during that period. I think it was well received, and I'm happy to be a part of that process.
You're viewing Tobago Updates Television, your exclusive gateway to Tobago, broadcasting the beauty of this island paradise to the world.
Back to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Updates. I am your host, Chanel Felix. I know whenever you see me sitting here, it's because we're about to have those conversations that you want to have while I ask those questions that you want asked. But before we get into this morning's interesting topics and conversations, let's have our news in 90 seconds. The Tobago House of Assembly, THA, is preparing to fill the vacancy left by Joel Sampson, who resigned as Secretary for Community Development, Youth Development and Sport after being elected MP for Tobago West. Sampson, formerly the representative for Crown Point Bonaccord, won the April 28th election on the Tobago People's Party ticket. Chief Secretary Fali Augustine confirmed a replacement is identified, but pending legal formalities. No by-election is required due to the timeline. Efforts to get further updates from the Chief Secretary Fali Augustine remained unanswered. However, Deputy Chief Secretary Dr. Faith Brebner said announcements are expected soon. Additionally, A revised sense of optimism is emerging in the scrap iron industry as the stakeholders push for reform and regulations. Following a meeting on May 27th, the Scrap Iron Dealers Association plans to recommend the formation of a regulatory body to the Ministry of Trade, Investment and Tourism. The association president, Alan Ferguson, have a bit of a technical issue there. The association president, Alan Ferguson, described the meeting as positive and said legislative changes are imminent. The industry, which brings in foreign exchange and supports lower income groups, was shut down in 2022 due to widespread theft but reopened in 2023. Ferguson noted that Maharaj expressed concerns over the industry's decline and pledged support. The association calls for law enforcement collaboration to tackle theft. And finally, as tensions escalate under Nicolas Maduro regime, the U.S. Department of State has issued a level 4 do not travel advisory to Venezuela, citing serious threats including wrongful detention, torture, terrorism, kidnapping, and inadequate health care. Venezuela currently holds more wrongfully detained U.S. citizens than any other nation, often without due process or access to legal consular aid. Family members are also at risk. There is no U.S. embassy in Venezuela, leaving citizens without support. Dual citizenship or visa offer no longer protects. All U.S. nationals residing in Venezuela are urged to leave immediately. And that was our news in 90 seconds. Now this morning we continue our conversations by talking with the man himself, political leader of the PDP, Watson Duke. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, Chanel. Good morning, people of Tobago and those fans of Tobago updates.
Right, and since the result of the general election, you have been hitting the ground running, and you are still out there, still connecting with the people, and still trying to be the solution for some of the problems that Tobagoans are having. One of the issues that have been on the cards for a long time has been the Tobago autonomy issue, and Tobago receiving greater authority over many areas and having a larger allocation in the national budget, along with many other elements that play into the autonomy bill. But recently, in your press conference, you suggested a referendum framework to be used to, I'm not sure if it's in the short term or in the long term, to help supplement with that autonomy issue that Tobago is facing. Tell us a little bit about that, your recommendation.
Thank you, Chanel. Let me say that I'm not talking autonomy. Tobagoans are not talking autonomy. That is what the Honorable Chief Secretary is talking. He's talking autonomy. Autonomy, simply put, means some of your rights. Tobagoans already have autonomy, some of our rights. But what does the law say? Based on the 1966 International Covenant of Civic and Political Rights, based on the 1966 International Covenant of Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights, every single peoples is made a group of people who are bound ethnically, historically, and different things that keeps people together. These people have an inalienable right, a fundamental right, an inherent right to freely, without any external influence or pressures, decide upon their political status. When one talks autonomy, that is a choice from three political status they are making, which is, the first one is independence, the second is an autonomous relationship, and the third one is a free association with a treaty between your country and another country. Tobagoans have never had a discussion on its independence, nor on an association with another state. So therefore, I'm saying to the Honorable Chief Secretary, and I'm also saying to all of Tobago, that is a conversation that we must have according to international law. United Nations Charter 1514 also speaks of the right to self-determination. Even in Africa, there are certain laws among the African unions that speak of the right to self-determination. And throughout the world, it's an international law that can be prosecuted or persecuted in the international courts of justice. So we are speaking self-determination and not autonomy.
Right. And tell us a bit about your recommendation for a referendum and how that's different from what was passed last Friday in the House by this current administration.
Right. Well, what was passed last Friday in the House was really unfortunate for three reasons. One, they passed a motion that says the Attorney General and the Chief State Council or something like that, Parliamentary Council, they would meet and they would decide upon the things that are now in the fifth schedule, the 33 areas in the fifth schedule. They will now decide which of those things should be given more legislative rights and more regulatory rights. And even throughout the debate, they failed to present us, all assemblymen, with a document that say of these 33 areas, we want 10 or 15 of these areas to have more rights or to have more regulatory power, or more legislative power. And these are what we propose. We did not debate that. Just a blanket statement. Give the AG and give the Parliamentary Council that right to decide that. And they, if they choose to, would involve the THA. I'm saying it should have been the other way around, where the THA should have decided out of the 33 areas which area we want, discuss it, and then pass a motion that these particular areas, we would like to see this, we would like to have the regulatory power concerning that. That's one. The second one was where they are saying, again to Trinidad, that we want you to review all of the previous autonomy bills. Yeah? Review all of the previous autonomy bills, put them together, and then relay that into the parliament. So it's a cook-up. It's a pilau, or what you call a yaba, where they mix everything together in the same pot and then come up with this whole new legislative portion for the THA, for people, and saying this is good for you. That is not good enough. What should have happened is that the Tobago House of Assembly again should have looked at all of these past and previous or current assembly laws, and we should have infused that with new thoughts and say this is what we would like to see for the people, with the widest margin of error, so to speak, right? Not risking anything because the people have not yet decided. And the fourth one is where now he is tasked with the duty of carrying that motion down to the Prime Minister, and also a policy paper. A policy paper on what? The Tobago House of Assembly, the assemblymen who are here, we are all legislators here. I'm a legislator in the House of Assembly. We have not even seen the policy paper. And he's saying, I'm going to take a policy paper. What contains that policy paper?
I was just about to ask that because last week the Chief Secretary pledged transparency and indicated that he would be making the supporting policy papers public for public consumption. So there has been no conversation about the actual policy as yet.
Even that statement is a flawed statement. How could the Honorable Chief Secretary state, with all the wisdom he has, state that he's going to make a document, a policy paper, open for the public commentary? That cannot happen. It's wrong. What should have happened? The public should have been the one to inform the public policy. Obviously, it's a policy that comes in from the public. It's not a whatever policy. It is not a party policy. It is not the THA policy. It is a policy that comes from the public, a public policy on this matter. So they should have been in the highways and the byways soliciting the views of not their party members, but even those who oppose them staunchly, those who hate them in their guts. Those persons' views should have been solicited, because that's how you form public policy. The good, the bad, and the ugly, they are all involved in forming policy because the policy affects them. He's saying he's going to give a policy, and that should represent the public views. I'm saying those things are wrong, and for those reasons, we demand a referendum. Now, referendum is not legal, it's not lawful. And so we are now saying to the Prime Minister, one of the first things you seek to do is to incorporate in the Constitution amendments a change for referendums, and how and when and by who these referendums can be conducted should be legislated. Having passed that in the Constitution, the next move is to create a referendum act that now guides how it should be done, because the Constitution cannot get into too much details. It's a broad area that allows for, the passage of the referendum. The referendum is the only means known to man, locally and internationally, by which the views of everyone can be solicited and can be documented. You need to know who vote and how that person vote. Not literally, but that person ought to be one who is coming to vote. I could have a room filled with black Grenadians, and they all could keep silent. And if you don't know them, they could say, yes, we're voting for that. But then Grenada had come here by plane, and they have made a decision for Tobago. If there is no documentary evidence to show who is there and where they live and this type of stuff. So therefore, the Referendum Commission ought to act like the Election and Boundaries Commission. When I say the Election and Boundaries Commission are strictly for the purposes of election. The Tobago Referendum Commission, which I say our commission should be named and legitimized here, is now responsible for referendums on making decisions on these hot potato issues where people oftentimes are saying my views were never conducted. Let me just stick this in. Based on the public consultation held in the last incarnation of the Tobago Self-Government Bill and the Constitutional Amendment Bill 2021, there's a report on the parliamentary site that says how few people participated in those consultations. Few people. Of the alleged 60,000 persons who live here, there was not even 5,000 persons who participated altogether by way of email, by way of physical meetings, etc. Now you're saying to me, 5,000 people called to these secret and hurriedly called meetings, slapdash meetings, and making a decision while passing law without the involvement of 60,000 people? No. This is the greatest decision Tobago will ever have to make in their lives, to exercise their right, again, a right. It's a legal right to their self-determination.
Right. And even in conversation with political leader of the IDA, Dr. Denise Soyafat-Angus, she indicated that there has been a call from all political leaders to come together and have this conversation on what would go back to the parliament on behalf of Tobagonians, and what would new consultations look like from the political leaders in this space. Do you agree that the political leaders should be meeting in order to have this level of unity and collaboration moving forward on what a new autonomy bill for Tobago could look like?
Well, let me say this, right? I don't want to speak on that matter because Denise Soyafat is involved in it, and I don't want to add legitimacy or take away from her statements. What she said, she said. But I'll say this, all of Tobago, political leaders, religious leaders, education, persons who are into education, sportsmen, cultural people, businessmen, even school children through their parents should be involved. This is the single most important decision Tobagonians can make, and it must be given time. You can't say they have thousands of consultation before. People must be allowed to change their minds. Today is today, yesterday was yesterday. And we must have consultation. The last consultation they had was in 2016. That was a large, major consultation done by Trinidad. And then again, Trinidad cannot conduct these consultations. These must be done by Tobagonians, with Tobagonians, for Tobagonians, and freely allow Tobagonians to decide. without any wrenching of one's arm. And so I say everyone should be involved. While I respect Dr. Denise Surafat a lot, I wish not to comment, add, or take away from her statements. Her statements are her statements.
Right, and even we have heard from the Prime Minister, and she has expressed willingness to work closely with the Tobago House of Assembly in the short term to ensure that some of those requests are met, but to ensure that that Tobago autonomy issue stays to the top of the agenda. Do you think that this new central government will work in Tobago's favor as it pertains to pushing that Tobago autonomy and making that a reality?
It is the politically correct thing for any self-respecting government to do, to work with Tobago. It is politically correct. You don't want to seem as if you are adverse to Tobago's progress and Tobago's freedom of expression to do its political choice. But again, we are not talking autonomy. As long as you are talking autonomy, you are talking a choice which Tobagonians have never made. Throughout the years, we have had politicians foisting upon Tobagonians autonomy, autonomy. Tobagonians don't want some of their rights. They want all of their rights to choose. And that is fundamentally expressed in international law. If we go to the court of an international tribunal now, they can dispute that. When Venezuela and Guyana recently had a dispute over the Essequibo area, that was taken to the international court to decide which area it really belongs to. Whenever there is dispute about land, it goes to the international court under the UN. And we have to respect the rights of all Tobagonians, whether I'm here or I'm not here, whether I'm in politics or not. It is Tobagonians' right to decide. Nobody could decide for us. We must say whether we want to have full independence or we want to have an autonomous relationship, continue that autonomous relationship, or we want to have a free association with Trinidad with a treaty, meaning we can leave if we feel to leave, etc.
Understood.
Yeah.
Now, even as we approach the mid-year budget review, are you expecting good things for Tobago as it pertains to now having a new Minister of Finance and a totally new central government?
Tobago problem will always be Tobago problem. Tobago problem is that education or educated people are suppressed in Tobago. They are made to do menial tasks and not be encouraged to contribute sensibly to the development or the management of Tobago. This is our biggest problem. We are our own problem. And so regardless, even if Christ was supposed to come down and run Trinidad and say, look, I am Christ, we will not get anything in line with our expectation because our expectation in Tobago is not based on a rational thinking. We have an assembly who have failed to present to us things like their audit statements throughout the year. This assembly here. Good. We have an assembly that is gifted in spreading the narrative. They spend money to spread the narrative. And the contributions from the assembly are lacking integrity, and they cannot stand up to public scrutiny or to meticulous scrutiny, so to speak. And so therefore, who will want to throw a bag of money to people who are irresponsible and not giving account when the basic tenets of good governance is not even expressed through the managing of Tobago affairs? Nobody will do that. And the Prime Minister, I assure you, she will not do that, especially when there's a money crunch. We have to show how we have been utilizing all of our money for the advancement of Tobago. What business, private sector business, is booming in Tobago? What are we manufacturing and sending abroad to bring in revenue? Our revenue in Tobago, in the Tobago State Assembly, has been on a steady decline, right? Steady decline from what we met to what we are, what we have expressed in the last budget statement. It is on a steady decline. We are talking about an island that spends about $2.5 billion per year, only to turn around and claim as profit, as revenue, something like about $10 million. Could that make sense to anybody? You are spending $2.5 billion a year, and the only profit you can make is $10 billion. And most of that come from fees, maybe the licensing fees or this fee, that fee, renting of a place that you own. These are what makes up our revenue. Even the man who is selling doubles, because doubles is a hot seller these days, or snow cone, would make more money than that if you were to give him that large cash revenue and say, look, develop your business. We are failing in Tobago. And so don't expect more money until we begin to improve. And to improve, we need to bring educated people on board, those with the experience on board, those people with a vision on board. And let's build Tobago for every child, for every village, and for every single family.
Understood. Well, Mr. Duke, we're going to take a quick break right here.
Thank you
We'll be
very
back
much.
right after this, so see you soon, guys.
Rise up to a brand new dawning as the passion start to rise. The energy filled us.
It's a different type of thing down there. And we party till we drop down there. With a lot of pretty girls down there. Down in Tobago.
Welcome to Tobago Glass Supplies, where innovation meets excellence and service reigns supreme.
Well, I want a proper window for me house, yeah? I want no shake thing in my place.
Our commitment is simple: to provide high-quality, innovative aluminum, vinyl, and glass solutions for both commercial and residential spaces.
We get one wall on the side and we get one hole. You can put a window there, invent something, a window for put there.
At TGSL, we don't just meet needs, we exceed expectations. Our range includes the finest aluminum cladding options, setting new standards in durability and style.
Well, me meet ya. Me don't know who I'm talking to, but I be children, cousin Chofina tell me for call all you go get proper thing for put there. Me don't know.
Driven by our passion to elevate, we aim to be the leading supplier in the Caribbean market while retaining our identity as a family-owned business.
Driven? No, I ain't driving. I get a bus ticket. One of me pick me them go drop me down there. Must bring me down there. Russo Trade Springer down by the place down there.
Because at Tobago Glass Supplies Limited, it's not just about products, it's about relationships. It's about you.
It's all about me? Who's your family? You know Edna and Dorka and them, you know them, but you resemble them Edward boy and them Edward people them you.
Tobago Glass Supplies, Russo Trade Spring Garden, telephone number 639-6266. Innovation, quality, service. That's Tobago Glass Supplies Limited.
Tobago, this is your chance to lock in the brunch experience of the summer. Sun up.
Real bad girl get nasty.
The brunch inclusive edition, the ultimate party in the East, where vibrant flavors, refreshing cocktails, and electrifying vibes collide. It's happening on Saturday, July 5th from 3 p.m. at Deltec Compound, Argyle. Bring your coolers, bring your crew, and brunch, sip, and vibe in style. This is the flavorful escape you've been waiting for. Grab your tickets now at Barcode, Pablo Supermarket, Lost Restaurant and Lounge, Deltec Compound, and committee members. Sana, it's more than a brunch, it's an experience.
Good morning and welcome back to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Updates, guys. I have been chatting with political leader of the Progressive Democratic Patriots, Mr. Watson Duke. This morning we've been chatting about his recommendation to have a referendum as it pertains to Tobago's autonomy and Tobago's right to self-determination. Now, we move ahead with your preparations for the THA election. You were not successful in this last election, the general election, as you went for that Tobago East representation. You did not gather the support of persons during that election. Do you think that within this period, until the announcement of the THA election, that you can muster that support from your district?
Well, Chanel, everybody measures success differently, right? Let's face it. You could be good in a 200 meters race, but bad in a 100 meters sprint, right? Different horses for different courses. I have never been successful in national politics in that sense, right? Where we have national elections and I've been selected to go to Trinidad. So I'm okay with that. The people will choose whom they want and they will live with those choices for the next 5 years. That's their right. However, I've never been unsuccessful where the Tobago House of Assembly is concerned. I've recognized that people vote differently for THA than they vote for national elections. Yeah? They vote totally differently. And so the idea is, let's see what Tobago will do in this THA elections. This is their election. It's more personal to them than the national elections where they vote for who is leading the country. Regardless of how much we profess to want to lead from here, people always look to Trinidad, the big party, and say who they think is going to win, and they vote in that regard.
Right, and even as you look at the polling station by polling station result from that last election, is it possible to identify some of the core areas that you need to work on and the strategies that need to be implemented within the next few months?
No. Different horses for different courses. You may be good in a 200 meters, don't try the 100 meters. You go get lick up. Don't tell yourself, well, nah, I'm good here. I maintain my course. People think differently for each elections. Yeah? There's a kind of makeup you put on when you're going to a party, and there's a kind of makeup you put on when you go to the office. And a different makeup you put on when you go to a wedding. Different courses for different horses. We have to understand that time and place for everything. Tobago elections is Tobago elections. There's a certain pride in how Tobago is managed by Tobagonians specifically. And that's what they're going to vote. They're going to vote totally different.
Right. And we, this morning we're going to open the phone lines and allow persons to call in and interact with you if they wish.
I don't want to do that. And I'll tell you why straightly. That, to me, we will see a lot of Tobagonians coming forward who will not critique ideas, but they critique personalities. And I wish not to get into that, because in one incarnation, I was a fighter. I don't want to engage in that type of brawl. But someone come and say, Duke, you're talking nonsense. I don't want to engage in that.
What we are discussing this morning is what Tobago actually needs.
If people...
And as it pertains to some of the ideas that you are putting forward, you indicated that Tobagonians don't want autonomy. Tobagonians are looking for that right to self-determination.
They want all of their rights to decide.
All their right to self-determination. But as you paint this broad stroke approach to what Tobagonians need, we are now opening the phone lines for persons to really voice and ventilate what they truly need, and so that our discussion is a true reflection of what Tobagonians are thinking and saying on the ground.
But let me caution you though. When you open the lines, let them come
respectfully. Of course.
All right?
Of course.
Let them come respectfully.
Of course. We're going to take a quick break here and we'll open the phone lines and give you guys the opportunities, if you desire, to call and let us know what does Tobago truly need, specifically as it pertains to having a new government at the central government level and having greater autonomy, having a larger portion of the national budget. Call in and let us know. But we'll take a quick break right here and we'll be back very soon right after this.
You want me to refer them to go in that line?
No. I wouldn't allow it. I'll cut them off. Can I have the headset?
They could kind of strip in yesterday. I go, say, boy, look.
How we will hear the people most of nobody can call.
The most people know what's up into you can skyrocket them too. And go think twice.
Most likely nobody will call. Hopefully nobody calls.
You don't have any like going out and then like loud like that.
And you might get feedback.
Okay. You don't shake the place dry thing that maybe at 10 point. See, it will be so.
Mouth-watering fries, salads, combos, and specials galore. Feeling for something to eat? Come and see. Our rotisserie is seasoned to the T. Kicking chicken, masala, and jerk roast. Crispy fries made from scratch. Who do you know can't beat that? Or salads freshly cut and packed. When you taste it, you'll be wanting to come back. So come check us out on number 2 Robinson Street, Uptown Scarborough, Tobago. We open on Saturday nights from 7:30 to 11:30 p.m. Monday to Thursday, we're open from 10 a.m. to 9:30 p.m. and on Friday, 10 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Contact us at 772-7443 and all social media handles at The Rotisserie Factory.
Good morning and welcome back to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Updates. Guys, this morning I have been chatting with the political leader of the Progressive Democratic Patriots, political leader Watson Duke, And this morning we have been having a number of conversations. And lastly, we were talking about your preparations for the THA elections. Now, are you planning to field candidates in all of the districts as you did in the previous THA election?
I don't think why I should not feel the question why I should not. I'm not saying yes I would, but why should I not? When based on the last records of the Election and Boundaries Commission, the PDP got 17,000 votes for that Tobago House of Elections, you know, and like as I said previously, Tobago House of Assembly elections are different from national elections, you know.
But do you acknowledge that there has been a significant shift in the support for the party with the development of this new Tobago People's Party, and a lot of the PDP supporters have shifted over to TPP?
I will not say yes to that, and I wouldn't say no. I would say we will have to have data. We'll have to have cycles of data. And when we have cycles of data, you could then be able to analyze. You can't analyze from one. No statistician who is worth his salt could use one thing and analyze.
So you don't think that you could utilize the data from the general election?
One election?
And the type of support that you are seeing, even as it pertains to those motorcades. So even the faces that you know that were a part of your PDP campaign that you are now seeing in blue, does that not send a signal to you that a lot of your supporters have shifted?
That was a national election, I said to you again. No statistician can make a judgment based on one. The more data you have, it's the better you can make a judgment.
Right. Well, I want to remind our viewing audience that the phone lines are open and you can call us and talk to Mr. Duke and tell us exactly what do you think Tobago needs, and are you in agreement with his statement that what Tobagonians want has to do with having all of their rights, not some.
That's right.
Right, and you can contact us at 284-6597. Now, even as it pertains to what the groundwork that has to be done to make a dent in this THA elections, some of the partnerships and some of the persons that you had working in that last THA election, they are with the TPP. They resigned from the PDP and they are even on the executive of the Tobago People's Party. How are you reconciling this to have the type of structures and the type of election machinery to do what was done in 2021 again?
That's a good question, but that question strikes at the root of PDP's strategy. And when a man goes to war, he don't put his strategy out front. So the political enemy, so to speak, would take that and now work around that. I could say we have been very masterful, and we know our craft. We know our people. All right? And let's see how it goes. Let's see how things turn out.
Are you planning a possible partnership with the People's National Movement for the next THA election?
I'm not planning any partnership, but if it requires a partnership to govern Tobago, then I will have a partnership with not only the PNM, but even Farley's party, anybody. We can merge together to govern Tobago.
All right, good morning. We have a call on the line. Caller, I just want to allow you to be a part of this morning's discussion, but also cautioning you to keep it civil, as Mr. Duke would like to have a civil conversation this morning.
Yeah, morning, Comrade Duke.
Morning, sir.
Yeah, I really want to find out what Tobago wants. A very fair question to you. What Tobago really needed? You're hearing secession, you're hearing autonomy. What Tobago really needed?
Very good question. Let me say to you, sir, that Tobago wants its rights to decide. And that will be done through education exercise and through a referendum where everyone can vote. It is a miscarriage of justice to think that Tobago has already decided. Tobago is still deciding. Information will allow a person to decide. This is why we want the information to be without any political persuasion. And we are asking that a Tobago referendum commission be set up that will go into the communities, online, wherever, and educate Tobago, and that people be given adequate time to make up their mind. This cannot be done in 1 year, nor 2 years, maybe 3 to 5 years, because it is a full educational process that results in persons making an informed choice through the ballot box. That's the only way we can decide.
THA like to put out a paper and every member, the Burgesses of the Tobago have a say on it, what they really needed. Everybody have a say, like a general thing where the members could come out and say, we need this, we need that. And the majority, it goes with the majority.
Well, they should do that. But as I said earlier, the last time we had some real going around in the village consultation was public, was in 2016. And that was done. It only reached less than 5,000 persons it actually reached. Those who emailed, those who would have engaged in social media, given the information, those who would have attended meetings, was less than 5,000 persons. Of a population of 60,000, one cannot use that information and say is Tobago want this. It's an indication, it's a sample, but it is not the trust of Tobago by and large. So it's a good question you want, what Tobago wants. And the same question Tobago is saying, what do we want? We want to have all the information on our rights to be independent, the rights to have continuous autonomous relationship, and the rights also to have a free association with Trinidad. These are our rights, and we want all of those rights. Only at that time, the voice of Tobagonians can be solicited and properly heard through a referendum.
All right.
Why not all the assemblymen sit down together and, come up with one thing, hear the views of each assemblyman and put out something to get that exactly what you're saying?
You will know that assemblymen sometimes are very political, and they will not talk with their political enemies. And therefore, it means some persons will be left out of the conversation, and we don't want that. We want everyone to be involved in the conversation. Those persons from whatever political persuasion, even those who are not voting for politics, they too may want to vote on the type of country they need, and not a political party to govern the country.
All right, caller, we want to thank you so much for your call and being a part of the discussion this morning. Thank you. The phone lines are still open if you guys are interested in being a part of this morning's conversation. But even as it pertains to what the caller asked, the importance of that consultation, as we discussed earlier, it's important to go back. But the Chief Secretary indicated, I believe it was during a short video that he made in his office last week in response to Minority Leader Kelvon Morris. He said nowhere in the motion did it say that they will not be having consultation. Can you speak to that?
Well, again, the Chief Secretary is playing smart with words. The motion is clear that having gotten the motion passed, you will then take the motion with a policy paper to the Prime Minister, where in that is consultation. It's two-step. Motion, pass, you receive the motion, you then take the motion and a policy paper, which means it's already prepared, to Trinidad. And then now, you want to introduce that to the public? Come on, it doesn't work that way.
Do you think that policy paper already exists, and how or what might have been the reason why other assemblymen did not receive a copy of the policy?
I can't say if it exists and why we don't have a copy. But what I can say, the way the Honorable Chief Secretary is operating is very dishonorable, is very disingenuous, and it does not breed confidence into his level of administration. It does not breed confidence. It's a lot of ism and schism and shady deals going on there. If you are coming to the House of Assembly, we are a house of legislators, all of us. We make laws. Even though we have not made any, we make laws.
We have a caller on the line. Good morning, caller, and welcome.
Good morning, Wakanda.
Wakanda.
I am saying to Mr. Duke, Miss Felix, I forgot to address you. You are a name that comes from a fine family.
Thank you.
Here's the story. Mr. Duke is still talking.
No, I need you to listen to only the phone if you're on the phone, and don't listen to the TV because there might be a delay.
Right. I'm off. My volume is turned down. So I want to know when you're ready for me.
I am ready for you. You go ahead and ask
so
the
is
question.
Mr. Duke. All right, here we go. Mr. Duke, I find your mind is so very clear, so absolutely on point in relation to the topic you're dealing with. But we have this thing called the other part. Are you speaking as a politician, a Tobagonian, or both? Because I want all the things that I've heard about you to be brought forward, because we know the medium is the message. Besides what you're talking about, to be autonomy, self-government, whatever, you have to prove in the way you are outside of your talk that you are worthy of leading. Because in all your talk, you have not said who is going to be leading this thing, I want to know who is going to be leading this thing, and where are you going to be as a leader, political, Tobagonian. Bye.
All right. Thank you so much, caller. Thank you for that.
Thank you. The people will always decide on who they want to lead. It's a free choice. But let me state now that I'm not preoccupied with leadership. I've led many occasions in different realms. I've been successful. I've achieved lots of the objectives that I set out to achieve. But now, this is a Tobago issue. And it's about us recognizing that all of us are one. And the undereducated has a right to have a choice in this matter, a voice in this matter, as much as the over or educated, very educated. Everyone must have a choice, and that is what I'm fighting for. This has nothing to do with being chief secretary or whatever. Those are very little issue to me. What I'm concerned about is Tobago. I'm only one man. And while I'm here on this part of the soil, I will do my level best to bring consciousness to Tobago. Let me just take this in. Some people, and this is just a little by the way story. Some people have shared with me, Watson, have nothing to say to Tobagonians. Leave Tobagonians alone. Right? You see how they vote? Leave them alone. Say nothing. But I can't.
Understood.
It's not my nature.
We have one more caller on the line. Good morning, caller, and welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
I would like to find out from the discussion. There was an election we just had. It was general election, yeah?
Yes, the last election was the general election.
And in that election, what was the issues discussed?
What was the issues that Mr. Duke brought forth in the last election?
Yeah. Was it on referendum? Was it what it was? I mean, I think I heard all the parties' issues, and the people voted based on the issues that were raised. And as far as I'm concerned, the issue of autonomy or internal self-government was raised by the PNM, a lesser extent, but primarily by the TPP. And I guess that is why the mandate was given to that party, as far as I'm concerned, to pursue and process this issue.
Thank you so much for that, caller. Do you think that, as the caller would have indicated, that the TPP got that nudge of approval because one of their main focus was that Tobago autonomy thing that, a lot of Tobagoans hold close and dearly to them. And the caller is also asking, was this one of the issues that you kept at the forefront during your campaign?
The caller statements is a mixed match that doesn't match. All right. The issue that was raised by all political organizations were many, and they all varied. People vote based on a line of sight. The worker would have voted for money. Some workers would have voted, some persons would have voted for the job. They feel comfortable. Some folks would have voted for personality. So the issues have been diluted. It was not about Tobago autonomy. So I listened to the worker, to the caller, and I say that he has to rethink his position and understand that when we are talking autonomy, it has to be autonomy alone. It's not autonomy and politics, autonomy and autonomy. But autonomy is a choice. So we have to speak self-determination, which creates a framework for which all Tobagonians by law make that choice. And when Tobagonians make that choice, they can choose their sovereign independence, they can choose to continue in an autonomous relationship, or they can choose a free association with Trinidad via a treaty, which means they can leave if they feel like leaving. So he has to understand that the issues have become convoluted on the campaign trail for election. It's about personalities, it's about music, it's about vibes, it's about a lot of issues. It's about the Prime Minister in Trinidad, it's about their future, not Tobago. Tobago is Tobago, and while it's their future, it is how we live here on the island and not how we live in Trinidad and Tobago. It's a different thing altogether.
Right. And you indicated previously that a lot of persons have approached you after that general election and asked, why keep going? How has moving from a place where you led a 14-1 victory to being a part of a general election where Tobagonians clearly did not give you their support, how have you dealt with that on a personal level?
Very good. Very good. Life will send you rain. It will send you sunshine. It will send you mud. It will send you marble. You have to just decide that today is that day. Tomorrow could be a next day. Yeah? It doesn't rain every day. It doesn't shine every day. Every day brings its own merit, brings its own challenge, its own success story, its own failure. Right? Remember, I still continue to lead the political, the THA elections insofar as mandate. The PDP continues to lead that. What has happened there, to me, is something that requires a commission of inquiry. How could people move from PDP and say they're independent and then become a different thing? It's something for a commission of inquiry. But suffice to say, the last records will show we still have 14-1. This is why the PNM cannot move from their position as one. Yeah? We still have 14-1. Trinidad, national politics is national politics.
Understood. And even as we wrap up the discussion this morning, is there anything that you want to say to Tobago?
Well, I want to ask Tobagonians to please be a little more serious with your future. You know? This is not kick sticks. This is not go on Facebook and cuss somebody kind of stuff. This is really about your future. And long after we would have been removed from the scene, Tobagonians must have the right to live with the choice that they make. So let's choose wisely, but let's look at all the choices. You don't walk into a store and say one shoes as a female and say, give me that one. You say, are there more shoes? Let me see the rest. Let me see if I like it. If I'm buying curtains, let me see all the curtain materials. You want to choose. It is the right of all human beings to choose. Nobody could say to you, this is it. Choose the yellow ice cream alone. We don't want that.
Right. All right. Well, we want to thank you so much for your time this morning and bringing so much clarity on a number of different areas, specifically your recommendation for that referendum for Tobago.
My pleasure.
Guys, we want to thank you so much for being a part of this morning's discussions. Thank you for your likes, your shares, and your comments, and all that you have done and continue to do to make Tobago Updates the #1 broadcaster here on the island of Tobago. Again, I am Chanel Felix, and have a great day.